This is Top 30. 30 stories in 30 minutes.
Investigators are calling the deadly truck attack in New York an act of terror. At least 8 people are dead and 12 are injured. Shortly after 3 p.m., a truck rented from Home Depot drove onto a bike path next to the West Side Highway at Houston Street. It traveled south at full speed for 20 blocks, plowing into cyclists and pedestrians. When it reached Chambers Street, right next to a high school, it slammed into a bus full of children. At that point, 29-year-old Seyfulo Saipov exited the truck with a paint gun and pellet gun. He was wounded by police and taken into custody. They later recovered a note pledging allegiance to the Islamic State. Those who were on the path describe a horror show. Cell phone video posted online shows bystanders tending to the injured amid mangled bicycles. 6 victims died instantly. A jogger who was there said, "These people were gone. I'm in shock." 5 of the victims were friends. They were part of a tourist group celebrating the 30th anniversary of their graduation from university. Hernan Diego Mendoza, Diego Enrique Angelini, Alejandro Damian Pagnuccio, Ariel Erlige, and Hernan Ferrucci were all identified by Argentina's foreign ministry. President Trump tweeted, "My thoughts, condolences, and prayers to the victims and families of the New York City terrorist attack. God and your country are with you." This is now the deadliest attack in New York since 9/11.
An identity theft horror story has led to a lawsuit against the hacked credit bureau Equifax. Katie Van Fleet of Seattle told Fox how she learned her identity had been stolen 15 times.
I kept receiving letters from Kohl's, from Macy's, from Home Depot, from Old Navy for saying thank you for your application.
She says she'd never applied for credit at any of over a dozen stores that contacted her. Van Fleet now believes she is one of over 145 million Americans who had personal information compromised in the hack of Equifax. So does her attorney. They filed a class action lawsuit alleging the credit bureau was negligent. Attorneys general in at least 5 states are looking into why Equifax didn't notify the public for nearly 6 weeks. Van Fleet says she ultimately stopped further identity theft by freezing her credit, and experts say to do the same if you are concerned about identity theft.
These are your quick hits. A Utah nurse who was violently arrested for doing her job has reached a $500,000 settlement. Alex Webbles will get $250,000 from both Salt Lake City and the university that runs her hospital after explosive footage of a detective handcuffing and shoving her went viral. Former President Barack Obama kicked off his foundation's first summit on Tuesday and set one major rule: no selfies. He said, "One of the weird things about becoming president is I found that people were no longer looking me in the eye and shaking my hand." And finally, Wendy Williams fainted on live TV during her show Tuesday morning, and it was pretty scary.
That was not a stunt. I'm overheated in my costume and I did pass out.
We're just glad she's okay.
Let's go to the New York Stock Exchange for our Fox Business Minute with your friend and mine, Nicole Pedalides. Nicole, I'm hearing big things about Amazon Video.
Well, that's right, Richard. Amazon Video is coming to an Xbox near you. The streaming app is now available on Xbox One consoles globally. Prime members can download the app and stream for free. The company in Japan is giving non-smoking workers an extra 6 days off per year. And it's not for health reasons, it's about fairness. The company did some research and found that cigarette breaks take at least 15 minutes, and that adds up. According to one study, smoking costs the global economy $1 trillion per year. Well, in the past, when a new iPhone came out, Apple would let tech outlets review the phone before the release date. According to the Wall Street Journal, the company changed its strategy and gave early access and longer test periods to YouTube personalities and celebrities who have a bigger following.
Nicole, tell me, what are the reviews like for the iPhone 10?
Most reviews from traditional outlets like the Journal echoed those from, say, BuzzFeed, who had the phone for more time. It means a shift in strategy. In the end, though, it will be the users who will ultimately give the final verdict. More Top 30 when we return.
They say an apple a day keeps the doctor away, but a new study says an aspirin a day keeps many cancers away. A long-term Chinese study of more than 500,000 people showed that taking aspirin every day for an average of 7 years greatly reduced their chances of developing certain cancers. In fact, participants were 47% less likely to develop liver or esophageal cancer and 38% less likely to get gastric cancer. There was also a 34% decrease in developing pancreatic cancer and 35% reduced risk of lung cancer. The lead researcher said what should be noted is the significance of the results for cancers within the digestive tract, where the reductions in cancer incidence were all very substantial. Interestingly, the study found no impact for breast, bladder, several myelomas, or kidney cancers.
The Navy released its report on 2 crashes involving destroyers this year, which killed 17 American sailors, saying that they were both preventable. The USS Fitzgerald collided with a Philippine cargo ship off the coast of Japan in June, killing 7 Americans. The report said the team disregarded established ways of contacting other ships, and several high-ranking officials were absent from the ship's bridge at the time of the crash, including the commander and executive officer. The report found their experience and guidance would have greatly benefited the situation. In August, 10 American sailors were killed when another Navy ship, the USS John McCain, collided with an oil tanker near Singapore. The naval report found this collision resulted primarily from complacency, overconfidence, and lack of procedural compliance, and that no one on the bridge watch team were properly trained on how to correctly operate the ship console during a steering casualty. The Chief of Naval Operations said the Navy will use the report to learn from errors and prevent future accidents.
It's time for this week's Page 6 Fix with Elizabeth Wagmeister.
Well, Kristen, it seems that baby fever is definitely sweeping Hollywood right now. It's going to be a boy for Jessica Alba and Cash Warren. The announcement comes from her gender reveal on social media. The happy couple already have 2 daughters together, Haven Garner and Honor Marie, so this will be their first son. But they're not the only celebrity couple expecting a boy. Multiple sources have confirmed that Khloe Kardashian and Tristan Thompson are also expecting a son. We'll have to wait to see if he follows in his dad's footsteps. And are Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani trying to get pregnant? We spoke to sources at The Voice, and while they certainly weren't going to tell us anything about a pregnancy, we did find out that if Gwen did get pregnant, she could easily take a break from the show without breaking up the bromance of Adam and Blake. And that's this week's Page 6 Fix. See you next time.
Thanks, Elizabeth. For more news and gossip, watch Page 6 TV weekdays. Check your local listings.
According to the Washington Post, a new device could change the way the visually impaired get around. Having long relied on guide dogs or white canes, limitations exist with those options. So, for instance, a guide cane does not protect the visually impaired from objects that may pop up at them from the waist up. In response, a team from Mexico has come up with the Sunu band. Worn on the wrist, the echolocation device emits high-frequency sound waves that bounce off objects within a 14-foot radius. The user receives a gentle, pulsating vibration on their arm from the device. As an object gets closer, the pulses become more frequent, using echolocation in a discreet, helpful way. Fernando Albertorio, a member of the Sunu team, points out folks want to be able to go outside, be active, blend in, and be part of their community. This remarkable sonar-like device could be a game changer. US consumer confidence is the highest it has been for 17 years. According to Conference Board in New York, Americans became more positive about the economy and job market in October, with the Consumer Confidence Index hitting 125.9, up more than 100 points from 25.3 during the Great Recession in 2009. As stocks continue to climb and the labor market improves, the American economy is bouncing back. The company's Director of Economic Indicators said confidence remains high among consumers, and their expectations suggest the economy will continue expanding at a solid pace for the remainder of the year. Unemployment is at a 16-year low, and 36.3% say jobs are plentiful, which is the highest response since June 2001, and 34.5% say business conditions are good.
A man used technology to go back in time and capture unique moments with himself as a child. Check out this picture. On the right is Connor Nickerson as a college student. On the left is Connor Nickerson as a child. And the fact that they're on the same picture is drawing international attention. Nickerson photoshopped his current self into pictures of him as a young boy, making it look remarkably real. The photos are part of a series he calls Childhood and includes the two jamming out in the garage, celebrating a birthday, and enjoying a day at the lake. So while it's impossible to go back in time, it looks like this is the next best thing. A $10 microchip used in a video game controller could help reinvent how doctors diagnose patients. An ER physician at Duke was playing on the Nintendo Wii with his son and noticed how well the controller followed his movements. So he developed a device that used the microchip in the Wii controller and attached it to an ultrasound wand. The wand usually delivers 2D images, but the attachment was able to record the wand's angle as it scanned the patient. A computer processed the data and was able to generate a 3D image on its screen within seconds. Clinical trials are ongoing at Duke and Stanford, and the FDA would have to approve the technology before widespread use. So I guess it can pay off to play video games with your kids. In today's Hometown Stories from Fox 5 New York, more than 1,000 homeless veterans have been housed this year, thanks to a collaboration between New York's Department of Veterans Services and other city agencies. For some vets, it will be their first time having a home in more than a year.
Unfortunately, it's 100 veterans a month that become homeless, so our commitment is not just to house all the vets that are in the shelter, but to create a system where we get them into housing as quickly as possible.
In our second story from Fox 2 San Francisco, 9-year-old Jordan Johnson's family lost their home in Santa Rosa during the Northern California wildfires. But one important item was spared: Jordan's Steph Curry sneakers, which she says helped her play better on her basketball team. She wrote a letter to Steph and the Warriors, wishing them well for the 2017 season. Well, the Warriors took notice and invited her entire family to a recent home game against the Detroit Pistons. And while the Warriors lost the game, they won the hearts of this family. In our final story from Fox 32 Chicago, these spiked blue heels are so much more than just a bold fashion statement. They are gifts from the organization Healing Heels, which gives women battling cancer a free pair of shoes to carry them through their treatments. It all started when breast cancer survivor Lauren Trulock was given a pair of heels by her best friend. They became her chemo shoes as she underwent treatment. These shoes are a pick-me-up that reminds women they are not alone, they are fierce, and they are strong.
United Airlines launched a new route this week that is one of the longest in the world based on time and distance. The airline is now flying direct from Los Angeles to Singapore, a distance of 8,700 miles. By distance, it's not the world's longest, but it is close. 2 flights that go from the Middle East to New Zealand top the list. Emirates Dubai to Auckland route is over 8,800 miles, and Qatar Airways Doha to Auckland route is more than 9,000 miles. But because of strong headwinds, United's LA to Singapore flight takes longer than the other two. The 17-hour and 55-minute scheduled flight is the longest based on time in the world. United offered special price seats on the flight, $384 round trip, but those are sold out through the rest of the year.
A one-of-a-kind hound dog proves home is where the heart is. This is Gumby. He was brought to the Charleston Animal Society in South Carolina as a stray in 2014. The staff was elated when, in no time, he was adopted, finding his forever home. Well, it turns out forever was just a few days. Gumby escaped his adopted family and showed up back at the shelter. Thinking it was a fluke, he was adopted out again, but escaped again after a couple of days. Okay, third time's a charm. He was adopted out yet again and escaped in less than a week. In 1 year, this Houdini-like hound returned to the Charleston Animal Society 11 times. Finally, the staff got the message. Gumby was trying to tell them something. He had a home there with them. At the shelter, Gumby constantly played with the other dogs and even had a talent of easing the fears of the other dogs. Gumby's whole life is at that shelter. His love is there. His purpose is there. With all of his staff parents and all of his stray doggy siblings, Gumby knew exactly where his family was. He was just waiting for everybody else to catch on.
SpaceX, the space exploration company founded and run by CEO Elon Musk, has completed another mission. using the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket to launch a Korean communication satellite into orbit. According to Mashable, the takeoff and landing occurred on a drone launch pad named Of Course I Still Love You in Cape Canaveral, Florida. Thanks to rough waters created by Tropical Storm Philippe and other storm systems on the East Coast, the drone ship takeoff was a little rocky. However, upon its return, the Falcon 9's lower half appeared to have caught on fire, prompting SpaceX's webcast host to say the rocket was a little toasty. SpaceX's successful takeoff was the 16th this year and the 19th time the company has completed a launch from either sea or land. Since its founding in 2009, the SpaceX staff has worked to make reusable rockets a viable option to save money on space exploration.
Even though Anuk Yai said she always imagined being involved with fashion and the arts, she never really believed it would be in the cards. However, after attending a homecoming event at Howard University, the 19-year-old biochem major at New Hampshire's Plymouth State University found herself being approached by modeling agents. According to USA Today, Anuk posed for 2 snapshots for a DC photographer who runs the Instagram account The Sunk while at Yardfest, and the photos went viral. Anuk said her phone exploded with notifications, and she thought she'd been made into a meme. The sunk photo currently has over 13,000 likes, but the one Anuk posted on her own Instagram has over 32,000. Anuk may have doubted she'd become a model, but social media proved her wrong.
The Attorney General of Ohio, Mike DeWine, has unveiled a 12-point plan to help free the state from the grip of its heroin and opioid overdoses that he says kill about 14 people in the state every day. The plan is called Recovery Ohio. DeWine is not alone in pointing the finger at drug companies for creating misery and destruction. DeWine tweeted, "I am determined to bring them to justice by demanding that they fund the extensive effort needed to clean up their mess. Yes, I am mad, and every Ohioan should be mad." In May, he sued the 5 largest manufacturers of prescription opioids for their alleged roles in misleading doctors about how addictive their prescription opioids actually are. The plan includes creating at least 60 more specialized drug courts, doubling the state's substance use treatment capacity, and giving the governor the power to declare a public health emergency. The role that drug companies may have played in misleading both the public and doctors about the dangers and addictive qualities of their opioid medication right across America is fast becoming a very major part of this story.
Selena Gomez has had a whirlwind of a year, and to top it off, she's been named Billboard's 2017 Woman of the Year. According to Billboard magazine, the award-winning actress, singer, and producer will join the esteemed ranks of previous honorees of the award, including icons Madonna, Lady Gaga, and Beyoncé. John Amato, president of the Hollywood Reporter Billboard Media Group, said, "Not only is Selena soaring on the charts, but she continuously inspires young women everywhere to be authentic, give back, and to not be afraid to use their voice." Selena's philanthropic efforts are as big as her career. She's worked with the Step Up Foundation, raised more than $500,000 for the Lupus Research Alliance, and has been an active ambassador for UNICEF since 2009. Gomez will be honored with the award at Billboard's annual Women in Music Dinner and Awards Gala on November 30th. So big congrats to Selena.
One company has found yet another use for drones, spotting sharks. Later this year in Australia, Shark Alert International will equip a helicopter, a drone, with a specialized camera. They say it will let them detect sharks from the air. The technology was developed by an American company for the military. It has been used to spot military targets in Afghanistan as well as Russian submarines. The company's founder says the camera takes 7 photos on 5 different frequencies every second and allows us to basically see through the water. It's like X-raying the ocean. The technology can also send alerts to those on shore using an app or surfers wearing smartwatches. When they were tested off the coast of California, the drone spotted sharks as much as 15 feet underwater. Using humans to spot them from the shore is expensive and difficult. They only swim on the surface about 1% of the time. So I guess we're no longer going to need that bigger boat.
When you think of fast food, you don't exactly think high fashion, but that could be changing. White Castle launched a 9-piece collaboration with the upscale brand Telfar in October, including a $121 t-shirt. The restaurant's vice president said, "We thought, why not see what we can learn from high fashion and be part of it?" Earlier this month, Taco Bell launched a collection of t-shirts and jumpsuits featuring their logo and packets of hot sauce with Forever 21. And Pizza Hut created 64 Bluetooth-enabled pie-top sneakers in conjunction with their new delivery system in March. So what's next? Chick-fil-A athleisure wear?
That is it for today's Top 30. Here are some stories coming up that are worth knowing about. Artificial intelligence can now recognize and categorize what is in your personal photos, and some iPhone users are feeling exposed. Professional chefs speak out about the menu items they'd never order. Some are overpriced, some are dangerous, and a young football player with special needs makes his first touchdown. All that coming up on the next Top 30.